Hi, Pejman here, and today we're going to start a series of videos about one of the most useful functions in SQL, window function. Instead of talking about the whole thing and then jumping into action, we're going to talk about each of these functions in one session, and it's going to be based on a scenario. So assume that we have a table, and this table has just two fields. One field is the day, and assume that this table is covering, say, 2 or 3 years of data. And for each day, we have just one number, one field. Say it's going to be total cases. And based on the table that we're going to talk about, it's the number of cases of COVID in Ontario. And the trick about this number is that it's cumulative, starting from the start of the table and being added based on daily numbers till the end. So it's okay for those who are in charge of, say, Ontario's total number of cases, COVID cases, is totally fine. They don't care about the numbers, right? Daily numbers, right? For the whole thing. I mean, of course, they care about it. But for our purpose, we need daily cases, right? Number of daily cases. But we don't have it, right? For each day, we have just one number, and that number is the cumulative number, starting from the start of the table, right? So it's not like YTD year to date or MTD month to day numbers. It's not getting reset every month or every year, right? Because if it was a MTD or YTD number, it's the whole thing, right? So I'm telling you about the whole situation. So practically we don't have any partition, right? So to convert this cumulative number to daily number, right? There's a trick, and the trick is that, okay, let's get the current day's cumulative number and subtract the same thing from yesterday. So for example, if today we have, say, 10 cases, total of 10 cases, and yesterday we had, say, 8 cases, 8 total cases, then today should be, the daily case regarding today should be 2. So we are subtracting cumulative number of yesterday from cumulative number of today, right? So it's important to know about yesterday's number. And based on simple SQL functions, we cannot do it, right? So here comes the window function lag. Let's go into action. So let's bring a new SQL script by control and bracketing. Now I'm starting a simple select statement from my database, and the name is MHI, and then dot, the name of the table, and as I have just one table, autocomplete brings it automatically. Okay, now I'm running it or control entering that, and of all these fields, we just need 2 fields, reported date, and see, as I'm typing, autocomplete brings me a context sensitive list of related fields. I need the first one, I'm entering that, and then I need the second one. And okay, let's make it more understandable. Let's format it, all right, like this. Oops, sorry. Here I'm tabbing it, and then going to the next one, I need the second field, and that field is total cases, and that total cases is cumulative number of COVID cases in Ontario. So let's run it. See, we have just two fields, and the first field is the date, and the second field is the cumulative number, right? So let's go to one of these dates, say, okay, this one is nice, 11/44. So for 28th, we need to bring cases related to just that date. And to do that, a logical way is to bring the number related to the day prior to it. It's 993, and then simply subtract the number from the current date number, right? And then we can have the pure number related to 28th of March, right? So to do that, we're going to use one of the window functions in SQL, and that one is I'm introducing lag function, right? So lag brings the value of fields before current record based on a sort logic that we're going to introduce it, right? So I'm lagging what? Total cases, right? Because I'm concerned about total cases. And then, okay, so here's the thing. Based on different SQL services that you're going to connect and apply the SQL statement on them, you might have different options. For example, this. MySQL gives you the ability to select number of records that you want prior to the current one. So 1 means the last record, right? So if I'm not mentioning that, it means that it's 1. The default number is 1, okay? So I'm skipping this one. And then I'm lagging this over what, okay? I think I've mentioned that before. We don't have any partition in this table because it's simply a series of dates and with one field, and that field is the cumulative number, right? We're not talking about MTD numbers, month to date numbers, or we're not talking about YTD numbers, year to date number, right? We're talking about a cumulative number starting from the first row of this table, and it's rolling on till the end. So we don't have any partition. If we had, then that's this different story. We're going to talk about it in next videos, right? So over. So when we are telling SQL that, okay, I need the last one, the first question, the first rational question might be based on what? Based on what sortation logic? And that's here. We should mention it here. So order by what? We talked about it. Reported date, right? So practically, this one tells us that, hey, SQL Server, bring me the last total cases based on reported date, right? Okay, and by the way, I'm not mentioning ascending because it's the default thing. If we want to do it from the other way around, we should use this, descending, right? But we're not doing that for now. So let's name this field. It's going to be last or latest total cases, right? I think I've mentioned that before. I don't like these spaces. It makes things harder, right? That's why instead of space, I'm going to use underline. Okay, let's test it. It's worked. It's worked. Sweet. Let's go back to our favorite date, 28th of March. Is it the birthday of someone here? I don't know. Okay. So you see, today's number is 1144, and here, latest total cases is 993. See, we have brought the value of last record sorted based on reported date. Easy as pie. So far we have cumulative number, the same thing but for the last day, and then we simply need to subtract these two fields from each other to have the daily cases, number of daily cases, right? So I'm doing this. I'm adding another field, and that field is going to be this one subtracted from this one, right? So I'm typing total cases minus that lag function, and then I'm going to name the new field daily cases, right? So let's try it. Nice, it's working happily. This is interesting. So we have 1144. The number for the last day, it's been 993. So 1144 minus 993 is 151. The same thing for others. See? Now, instead of this field, which is cumulative number, we have a pure number, daily cases, right? And it's working. Interesting, it's working. Okay, so let's have a summary. When we want to extract the value of, say, a day from a cumulative field, the logic is going to be like that. We bring the value of the last day or last record or whatever, and then we subtracting that from the current days or current records value. And then it's going to be the pure number of that day, right? And we used a lag function of window functions here, and we didn't have a partition, so we simply lag total cases over a sorting field, which is the reported date. Right? Simple. By the way, we cannot do that through any visual method like Query Builder. Right? Happy coding!